So our timeline, as I said, we kind of looked at this after COVID. We got with our sales rep, had talked to her numerous times, and we were able to secure ESSER funding for ebooks for our secondary schools to begin with, and develop a consortium collection. You guys know what a consortium, the district-wide collection, where all of our students have access to it. There is some reasons why we didn't start with elementary. It had nothing to do with the platform or anything of our desire. It was some internal decisions that were made. And at that time, we realized, Jennifer and I, there's no way we could do this by ourselves. So we decided to ask some of our librarians, anybody that was interested, to join a division committee to help us with the many tasks we needed to move forward and integrate this into our system. And then in November, after they did some curating and we had some meetings and discussions, we went ahead and bought our ebooks and audiobooks for the secondary schools. So we rolled out in November to just secondary schools. And you will see later on our usage was low to begin with. And then finally, in winter of 2022, some of those internal issues disappeared. I guess that's a nice way of saying it. So we were able to then go ahead. We still had plenty of money from our ESSER funding to start rolling it out to elementary. And again, we created an elementary team and started providing training. And you can see right now what our current statistics are with number of titles we have and number of copies. And these are all at the district level. We haven't had anyone really purchase at an individual school yet. I think when we rolled out to elementary, it just took off. Our elementary kids have really taken off using Sora, probably more so with our data than our secondary people. So we decided to, I kind of touched upon this. We decided to do a committee, division-wide committee, really initially for their feedback and their assistance and curating the materials, promoting the materials, et cetera. But we also really felt it was important that we have a buy-in from our librarians. And so we asked them to join the committee so that we knew they would have a sense of, I'm building this collection, I'm going to use it with my students and really understand the in-depth parts of Sora, the benefits. And again, Sora was wonderful. They provided training for our initial committee members. And then we have since then, we do with our committee members a bi-monthly virtual meeting. We discuss certain tasks we may want them to do the upcoming month, things that we need help with. If there's a sale, we have them go through the sales and like pick the items that they think from the sales would be really great. We also provide one-on-one refresher trainings because we all know librarians get busy and sometimes they say, yes, I want to do the committee. And it's 6 months later and they said, okay, now I can finally really do it. So we do refresher trainings. And if we have new committee members, you know, there's no limit who's on our committee that want to join. So Jennifer, typically Jennifer, sometimes I go and do the one-on-one training with those people as well.
So there are three main tasks that we ask our committee members to address. And the first is purchasing. So as Kelly mentioned, our committee members, which are comprised of library media specialists, K through 12 in our division, they help us to determine books that we may want to purchase. So the first thing is that we have come up with a really good process. Those of you who already use Overdrive for purchasing, we think it's a good process because what it allows us to do is to separate the books that we intend to buy by level. So for example, here's our high school only purchase cart, and our committee members, when they want to make recommendations for purchase, they put the books they want to recommend in that cart. And when we buy that cart, we set it so that only our high school kids will have access to the titles in that cart. This is the middle school, high school cart. So anything that goes in there, we make it available when we purchase to both middle and high school students, but our elementary can't access it. And then this is the anybody cart. So, you know, even though we know Diary of a Wimpy Kid is written primarily for elementary kids, our high school kids love accessing it too. So our high school, middle, and elementary can all access the things that we purchase in that cart. So that works well for us. So our committee members, they sometimes help us go through, for example, any sales that might be coming up, beginning of the year, end of the year sales, any kind of sales. Sora Overdrive recommends all kinds of things on the left-hand column, must-have books in various categories, discover books in various categories. We'll ask them who wants to go through this collection or that one, and they'll look through and vet them for us and put the ones they want to recommend in our purchase carts. Sometimes when Kelly and I meet with Overdrive folks, we'll say, you know, we really need help. We'd love to really increase the number of books in Spanish that are nonfiction that we have for our elementary. So they'll make us a cart of recommended titles that fill our need, and then we'll ask our committee members to vet them for us and then put the ones they want us to buy in the appropriate cart. They also help us to vet special collections. So, for example, Overdrive offers an all-access comics collection and a magazines collection. Before we went ahead and committed to buying those subscription collections, we needed to make sure they were appropriate for our kids. So we'd ask our committee members to go in and vet those collections for us before we purchased. They also help us with renewals. So sometimes the materials that we buy expire because we don't buy them in perpetuity. They're more just for a select period of time, and they'll help us to determine if, based on the circulation statistics, we should renew those titles. And finally, we have a Google form so that people who are library media specialists in our division, but who are not on our committee, can have some input and make recommendations as to what we should purchase. So our committee members will vet those as well. And so we'll ask them if, you know, do they want an audiobook version, ebook version, both, whatever. And our committee helps us to select those titles and put them in the appropriate purchase carts. The second task that we ask our committee members to help with is curating. So once you purchase books, you can create a collection on the Sora homepage to help promote those books to the students, sort of like a carousel and maybe some of the other platforms you might use. And so our committee members help with that. Some of them will create automated collections. So for example, Halloween's coming up. They might just say, okay, all the books in our collection with the genre horror, put it in this cart and they, you know, in this collection, and that will be a curated collection for us. So they help us with that. Sometimes we create custom collections. So you can manually add titles to a curation. So for example, here are our Virginia Reader's Choice books for elementary school students that we've purchased, and we ask our committee members to help us by manually populating that curated collection, so it'll show up on our Sora homepage and kids can easily access those books. And when you buy a cart of books from Overdrive for Sora, you can actually just take that whole invoice and dump all the books that are in that invoice into a curated collection. So we have one that's like new editions, and takes 5 seconds to throw them into that curated collection. So our committee members help with that as well. And lastly, we ask our committee members to help us with promoting. As we know, unless we really push a new platform or a new subscription service to our folks, it's not going to take hold. So it's taken a long time for us to develop a whole bunch of really strong materials that are Virginia Beach specific, that help our students and our teachers and our families access the platform and use it to its capacity. So for example, they developed a Sora Basics document for us that says how kids can get on Sora from a Virginia Beach Chromebook or from the app, from a browser, how they borrow, how they place holds, how they return. We make that available through newsletters to our families and to our teachers. But they also do things like make video tutorials of how to access Sora through these various means. They make shelf talkers for us so that, oh, Harry Potter, the book's missing from the shelf. Don't forget you can access it from Sora. They write up like morning announcement slideshows and verbiage for emails to parents or newsletters so that all of our Virginia Beach librarians can simply grab that verbiage, copy and paste it, and boom, it's done. So the easier we can make it for our librarians to promote the platform through these various things, because they're at their fingertips, that's what our committee helps us to do. So one last thing that we really wanted to highlight that we are really enjoying about Sora recently. I mentioned earlier, we have an all-access comics collection. It's amazing. It has how many titles? I don't even know how many titles are in all access. 2,000. Over 2,000 comics in there. And they're filtered by age level, so they're appropriate. So our high school can see them all. Elementary can only see the ones that are appropriate for elementary. It's an annual subscription. Those are some of our most popular access titles. And the same thing goes with magazines. We just got them this summer. It's an all-access magazines collection. again, filtered so it's appropriate, for the specific audiences. And as they add new magazines, Overdrive will email us and let us know so our committee can take a look and make sure that that magazine collection is appropriate for our kids. And if it's not, we can just weed it out, so it's not a problem. One thing that we really, really love recently, is cost per circ. And it was not a model I was familiar with before we joined Overdrive and Sora. How it works is you just enable a title, an audiobook or an ebook in a cost per circ model. It doesn't cost anything up front, but as kids want to check it out, it is a nominal cost per checkout. And so the beauty of that is simultaneous use. So all of our division-wide book clubs, our elementary book club, our high school book club, our Battle of the Books, our Virginia Reader's Choice, like all our big reading promotion initiatives that we do division-wide, we make those books available as ebooks and audiobooks in the cost per circ model. And the nice thing is you can put a monthly limit on it. So you could say, I want to cap it for us $1,500. And kids can only check out maybe 1 or 2 per month. And when we reach that monthly limit of $1,500 for the division, our 86 schools, it cuts it off. So we're not overspending, but the kids still have simultaneous access to those high need materials for our big programs that we do citywide. So this is our final piece of information. As you can see, this is our 3rd year of implementing. This was 2021, where we really just bought the books at the end of the year and started rolling and promoting. Last year, we did pretty well, and I would say probably tripling or quadrupling. And then as you can see, this year, we're doubling over again. This is checkouts per year, and this is number of unique users. So we're really excited that the promotion that we've been doing and the collection that we're housing is being used. And it's really exciting to see through the Insights tab, how many hours our students are reading and what the most popular books are. There's just a lot of information you can access in the program with statistics like these. Okay.